Welcome to the OK Let's Learn podcast. This is two podcasts in one. One where we dive into tons of interesting topics, and another where we dive into tons of middle grade novels and stories. My name is Kevin O'Keefe. So today, OK, let's learn all about raccoons. Yes, those trash pandas. Yes, those masked bandits. Hey, we all know them, but do we really know them? Okay, let's learn. And before we dive into the raccoons, just pulling the curtain back a little bit. My faithful listeners, if you've been here with me in our podcast now for 13 months? I'm the intro, a little different. Books and stories, two podcasts in one. Well, what I realized is that no, specifically, if it's not about random topics that we're learning, whether it's history, whether it's the sciences, whether it's really anything that's out there that's family friendly, what the podcast is about is my audience is mostly families. And since I teach second grade, the books that I'm talking about will be book club books, but for kids. And the kids that I'm talking about, yes, for picture books, because we will dive into them. They will be for the younger members of the audience, but mostly it's for those readers that really have dived into and now know how to read. So we're talking about second grade, second grade through sixth grade. Not young adult books. Just simple, family-friendly books that both kids and adults will love. So you're going to see that now in the opening of the podcast. Two podcasts in one middle grade novels and stories, plus tons of different topics. And our tons of different topics is all about raccoons. And let me tell you, I ended up diving into this animal in addition to all the other previous episodes that I've got out there. Frogs, chickens. We had recently rabbits, and yesterday we had crows. But I've got a friend that's got an issue with raccoons. One guy has decided to live in my friend's attic. So we are going to touch on, yes, the problems with living with raccoons out in suburbia, but ultimately everything that you thought you knew that you need to know about raccoons. What are they in terms of the type of animal that they are? No big classification here. A lot of people think, oh, it's a big giant rat. No, it's just a simple mammal, which means they have fur, they're warm-blooded, and their mothers, yes, nurse their babies with milk. Now, unlike a lot of our furry friends that we've talked about on the podcast, there's only 3 living species of raccoons. It's the common raccoon that we know throughout here, the United States, much of Canada and Mexico. And then there's this crab-eating raccoon, which is mostly found in Central and South America. And then finally, the last of the 3 is this raccoon called the Cozumel raccoon. It's on the Cozumel Island, which is off the coast of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. And there's only 200 or 300 of these raccoons left. They're endangered. And I got to address this right up front. This podcast is going out to the world in July of 2026. And hey, this is an evergreen podcast. It's to be listened to at any point, but I'm sure in the future something's going to happen. But I will tell you, he has gone viral. Yes, his name is Jimothy. He's real, and he's this wild raccoon that's living in this neighborhood of Seattle. He's got basically this short spine syndrome. He doesn't have a tail. He's just got this stout little body. He's got no visible neck. His limbs are really short, and he's hopping all over the place, and people adore him. So, hey, in the future, hopefully people will stay away from him, but Google him if you haven't heard of Jimothy. He is a star out there, and yes, he's a raccoon. Now, to make this clear, raccoons are only native to North America. That's where they only live. Yes, you can find raccoons throughout different places, mostly in Europe, because and only because, and I'll mention Japan as well, they're only found there because humans brought them there. And they do have thriving raccoons there, but they are pretty much absent everywhere else. So no raccoons are in Africa, Australia, Asia, and like I said, most of Europe, and certainly definitely not in Antarctica. Now, some basics. They weigh between 10 and 30 pounds. Some large guys can weigh up to 50 pounds. They're usually about 2 feet long, plus another foot with their bushy tail. They're clearly recognizable with their famous black mask around their eyes. They have grayish-brown fur. They have a fluffy ringtail with 5 to 7 dark bands, definitely pointy ears, and perhaps, no doubt, most importantly, they got their incredible front paws. If you've ever watched a raccoon pick up food, it is so entrancing. Why? Because it's like they're little humans. Most animals do not eat this way. Yes, there's some out there, but they have 5 long fingers on each front paw. But unlike cats and dogs, they don't rely on their claws to kind of play and use objects. Instead, they grab, twist, pull, pry, and even untie things. Scientists estimate that nearly 2/3 of the sensory area in a raccoon's brain is devoted to processing information from its front paws. That is absolutely amazing. They're so sensitive, these paws, that they can identify objects almost entirely by touching them and playing with them and looking them, even in complete darkness. And yes, that is why they're so famous for being able to get into our garbage cans and our coolers, whatever it is. They have the dexterity to be able to figure out and get those lids open, and then they go in and they have the time of their life. Now, they're also smart. I just referenced this in my previous episode on crows. Go back and listen to that one. But they, no doubt, are some of the most intelligent mammals. Why? They can remember solutions to problems for years. They can distinguish between symbols. They can solve complicated puzzles. And yes, like we mentioned, they can open latches. They can remove lids. They are smart. Now, how about that black mask? A lot of people think that kind of is like camouflage. It can help the raccoon hide. Well, maybe a little, but scientists think its main purpose is reducing glare. Just like the athletes that wear the black under their eyes to reduce the reflected sunlight, well, the dark fur may help improve a raccoon's nighttime vision by absorbing stray light. It's like natural eye black. Now, most of you know this, but they're nocturnal, which means they are sleeping during the day. They're active at night. So be careful when you go out on that deck. You got to turn that light on. I can't tell you how many times through the years I'll turn on the light and there is Rocky Raccoon just hanging out, looking at me, and he just kind of walks off. And again, this is known, but you see a raccoon that's acting strange in the day especially, going up to you, going kind of crazy, you got to be careful. It can mean he has rabies. I mean, raccoons will be out during the day, especially a mother that's kind of looking for food, but the clear signs of rabies, foaming at the mouth, wandering in circles, total disorientation, almost looking paralyzed, and absolutely unprovoked aggression. What is rabies? Well, it's a virus. And yes, it is transferred from animal to animal through either biting or scratching. If a sick animal bites a healthy raccoon, the germ will travel through the spit and into the raccoon's body, making obviously that raccoon sick too. Now you wonder why it's so debilitating. When that virus enters the body, right there, it binds to a healthy nerve. Then it moves up the spinal cord right like it's a highway. It reaches the brain and it causes massive swelling and it rewires the brain. And that's where the confusion, the aggression comes from. And yeah, it then travels to the saliva glands to prepare for its next bite. Why don't we routinely get rabies? Well, number one, there's laws that say you got a cat or a dog, you need to get rabies shots, right? So that blocks the main path to humans. But if you are unlucky and you get bit by a wild animal, immediately you go and you get medication. You need to see a doctor. This is an emergency. You never know. Humans, rabies can be fatal. But again, we don't see it happening too often because we have medication that can help. When obviously other wild animals, they don't have that. Where do they sleep? This surprises many people. They don't build nests like birds. They don't hang out in shrubs, but they actually do look for ready-made shelters, hollow trees, woodpecker holes, rock crevices, caves, storm drains, barns, sheds, and unfortunately, they make their way into our homes. Yes, they've been known to live in attics, and my friend, yes, she has experienced this, and oh boy, can this be unsettling. But think about it. Why is an attic perfect for a mother raccoon? It's dry, it's warm, it's protected from any of their predators. It's high off the ground, usually quiet, and of course it's sheltered from all the elements of the weather, the rain and the snow. From a mama raccoon's perspective, it's like a luxury apartment. What do they eat? Well, like our friends the crows, they're omnivores, which means they eat both plants and animals. So they're going to eat anything, including our garbage, berries, grapes, mice, worms, turtles, fruit, frogs, insects. You just name it and they will eat it. Now the family life. A typical litter of raccoons is 3 to 5 babies, and they call them kits. And they're born blind, deaf, tiny, and completely dependent upon mom. Their eyes don't open for about 3 weeks. For the first several months, mom does everything. She feeds them, moves them, protects them, and then teaches them how to climb, forage, survive. Dad? Again, he doesn't have anything to do with raising the babies. By autumn, many young raccoons are ready to begin living independently. So those litters usually are happening springtime, going right into the summer. How long do they live? Only a short time, 2 to 5 years. But if they get through that time period, some of them can actually live up to 10 to 15 years. In captivity, where there's medical care available, and again, this doesn't happen, but when it does, they can live 20 years or more. Do they hibernate? Not exactly. A lot of people think they do, but they don't. Instead, during extremely cold weather, they enter a long period of inactivity. They sleep much more and they live off of their stored body fat. But unlike true hibernators like bears, they wake up regularly and they come outside whenever the temperature is okay. And yes, I've seen them plenty of times during the winter. They can climb really well. Hey, a question that I'm sure you're thinking about, well, forget about rabies, but do they attack people? We don't go up to raccoons, and it's startling when you see them. And no, they don't. They are naturally shy. They'll move away, but guess what? If you're unlucky and you came across a mother that right there is near where they're protecting their babies, she'll go after you, right? No question that they can be aggressive. Why? Because they're wildlife. And no, they really shouldn't be pets, and there's states that outlaw them from becoming pets. It's been tried, but trust me, it is not a good scene trying to domesticate a raccoon. It just doesn't happen, very rarely. We talk about what they eat in terms of them being predators. Well, they're prey too. They got to look out for owls, eagles, coyotes, bobcats, foxes. But they're surprisingly adaptable. They can get away. They move quickly. Like I mentioned, they climb really well. And really, tragically and sadly, their biggest enemy is us. Like many animals, they get run over by cars. So just to wrap up our podcast, learning all about raccoons, here's a few other interesting facts. They can rotate their back feet 180 degrees. Then that allows them to easily climb down trees head first. It's funny also, I mentioned this with rabbits. They're good swimmers. They can swim 15 miles an hour. They have excellent hearing. Their whiskers just aren't on their face. We talked about this with their hands. They have whiskers on their wrists that help them explore objects. And you may have seen videos of raccoons dipping their food or rubbing their paws in water. Scientists believe it's not just that they're washing their food. They actually think it's something different. Their front paws are packed with incredibly sensitive nerve endings, like our fingertips. So when those paws become wet, the outer layer of skin softens slightly, making their touch receptors even more sensitive. It's almost like us putting on a pair of reading glasses, but for touch instead of vision. By wetting their paws, raccoons can gather even more information about an object, helping them figure out exactly what they're holding, especially in the dark. So, hey, they're eating everything like I mentioned, so the fact that they're dipping in water, this can actually help them understand what they're eating. So the next time you see that raccoon in your backyard, know that he's just not a cute-looking animal. He's wild, he's clever, he's smart, and he's got these two remarkably sensitive little hands. Friends, thanks for taking this journey with me, learning all about raccoons. Reach out to me at kevmok21@gmail.com. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on YouTube. We are on Spotify, any podcast platform of your choosing. So until next time, have fun and keep learning.